We're gonna go ahead and launch Total War Warhammer DirectX 11. Sorry, I almost said 12. And yes, like I said, I'm gonna have you guys experience the full excitement of waiting for the game to load. I do want to warn you guys that once the game loads up here in a bit, loading for the battles and campaign and like pretty much any sort of loading in this game for Warhammer. This is true also for a lot of the Total War games. The loading is extremely long, so it is not the PC. Um, if you guys will see that the loading screens are extremely long, and I just wanted to let you guys know and give you guys a heads up because this is common with Total War games. So don't think that the PC is just extremely suckish for this game, because we don't know that yet. We don't know that yet. I know I showed you guys the benchmarks for the Heaven, and they're not that great. I am pretty excited with them, like I said before, like I mentioned. But after not running the software, recording software and using the camera, like I've been saying, I was so excited because I believe the benchmarks will be a lot higher. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do what do you guys think? I think we should do medium. Medium is a pretty good setting for this computer, I think, overall for a lot of the newer games. Obviously, if it's an older game, not very demanding, I think you could probably go in and try your settings at high or very high, and I think you'll be just fine. We are going to still lower the texture filtering to trilinear. Let's see what else we can change here. Shadow detail. It's one of those things. Shadows. I mean, you guys might be familiar with it, but shadows take a huge toll on games like this. So we're going to go ahead and disable it. And the last thing I do want to change is going to be the unit size. When you set the default settings to medium, it sets it also to medium right here. But let's be honest, for a game like this, you're going to want the unit size at ultra. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a benchmark with the unit size at ultra because that's what you want to play at. That's what this game is about. So now I just said okay to save the settings, and we're going to go ahead and run the benchmarks now. Empire versus Greenskins. They also had a benchmark for Total War Attila. I might show you guys that later too as well, so you guys can kind of see how the difference in optimization and graphics are for the two games because they're relatively around the same time period. I know Attila was released last year around February, and this was released obviously this early this summer, so it's only about a year and some months difference. So I think there's a lot of similarities. They probably I'm sure they reused a lot of the stuff from Attila and just modified, change, and all that. So it will be interesting maybe to see what the difference in performance is for that. And as you guys can see, we're here in the long loading screen. So far we can see that it's stuck. I guess that's what we can see. But after we do this benchmark as well, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys probably a few minutes of gameplay, maybe the campaign screen, see how that runs, zooming in and out, see how it affects the performance once we're zoomed out and once we're zoomed in. Maybe run the battle for a few minutes. I probably won't finish it because that might take too long for this video. That's not the purpose of this video. Show you guys gameplay so much as how it performs in the game, because I'm sure you guys will do all the gaming once you guys do a build like this or similar. Because if unless you have already a good PC, but if you have like no PC right now, you have $100 in your $100 to your name, and you want a gaming PC, I strongly recommend you guys do something similar. I don't want to say $100 because not everybody may have the time or I guess want to put in this much effort into finding the right parts, finding the right components, or maybe something goes wrong and you don't get a refund like I did. So I think $150 would be max what you would want to spend for something like this. So the benchmark is running. As you guys can see, we're at 30 FPS or so. give or take. Our RAM is utilized to the max. And here's what I wanted to point you guys out. The CPU, look at that, 90s. So our CPU is getting stressed. Our GPU is also getting a lot more stress in CSGO. So pay attention to that. But the thing to note for here is that it's relatively very smooth. It was very fluid. See, as you guys can see, there's spikes up and down, but that's what the benchmark is for. You know, it shows you all the big scenes and all that. It's trying to max out the performance here. So if you see this line here, you can see that around like after the game loaded and everything was playing smoothly is around 30 FPS, because I know it seems very jiggery and stuttery or whatever you want to call it, but if you guys can see, the max here for most of these is 33 and the low is like mid 20s. So even though it looks like it's very jumpy, it's only about a 8 FPS jump difference, so it's not going to be extremely noticeable. So now that you guys experienced the awesome loading screens, I probably won't keep them any longer, because I just wanted to show you guys how long it takes, so that you don't freak out when you're running the game with a build like this and you're like, oh my god, this thing is stuck, and you're like restarting your PC or something. And I know most of you guys probably won't, but before I start the game, I probably want to show you guys on low what it looks like. So it looks like everything is ready here. Yeah. So I just changed the unit size to ultra again, like we did last time. We're gonna apply this, and we're gonna go ahead and run this benchmark. So you guys can already see we're doing a little bit better. Not great, but we are hitting almost 40s, so that's a lot better. But if you pay attention to like the gameplay itself, you guys can notice that it's not bad. It's very mildly stuttery, but it's hardly noticeable. Everything looks very fluid. You can see the projectiles moving very fluidly. When your FPS keeps spiking up and down a lot, you know, I've had this happen to me with this game before. You actually see the projectiles kind of like jump as they progress throughout the field. We did have some sort of issue right here, if you guys can see that. So that random huge spike all the way down probably affected our FPS a little bit more. But average 36.9, so very close to 40. For a game like this, it's not a shooting game. You know, it's a strategy game. And while, you know, everybody wants FPS all the time, you know, as much as possible, we do have to realize that this game is very, very, very extremely demanding compared to CSGO. This is, I mean, it was just released a couple months ago, and even newer PCs have trouble running this. It's not one of the greatest optimized games either.